Okay guys, so what we're gonna make today is a birthday cake because Friday, April 3rd was my birthday, so this past Friday. I'm using a Sharpie to draw today, and what we're gonna do is I found some paper that I'm not using this paper anymore, so I put it underneath so that my Sharpie doesn't go through to the page behind it, because if you're not careful, you'll end up getting Sharpie marks throughout your entire notebook, and you don't want that. Also, if you're working on a table and with paper, you want to have something underneath it so that you don't get Sharpie all over your table. All right, so what we're gonna make, friends, is we're gonna make a 2-tier cake. And it's a little tricky, but I think that we can do it. I promise. So what we're gonna start with is we're gonna make the top tier of our cake. We're gonna make the top tier of our cake first. And how we're gonna do that is I'm gonna take 2 fingers and I'm gonna draw the top tier of my cake. So 2 fingers away from that side, come over here, and 2 fingers away from that side. All right, and now we're gonna draw the bottom, and the bottom needs to be rounded. This is a round cake. And we're gonna go and we're gonna flip it over. And we're gonna do the same thing. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it just needs to look like somebody squished a box. Now, here comes the tricky part. We wanna draw the top part of our cake. And it's where we draw another rounded part, and it gives the illusion that we've created a cylinder, okay? So in space and art, we wanna create optical illusions when we're drawing things in 3D. And so this is gonna look like it's 3D when we're done, or kind of. All right, so we're gonna draw the next part of our cake, and we're gonna draw, let's not go quite to the edge. Oh wait, no, we can go to the edge. I'm gonna use the red line and I'm gonna draw here. Now, if you notice, I didn't draw above the top of it. There is a reason for that, and we are going to find out what that is. So I used line paper for this. Oop, I went too far. It's okay. Our bottom part can be thicker. The reason I didn't draw above it, because when we draw above it, it looks weird and it doesn't turn out right. So what we're going to do for this part is a little bit tricky. I'm going to draw a rounded edge up here. I'm going to draw a rounded edge up here. I'm not drawing through the cake, I'm drawing around the cake. I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom here that we did right here. This is where I'm just going to draw from this side, going to this side, and that creates an illusion. And now I need to draw one more from here to here. Okay? Doesn't need to be perfect. Now, the next thing that I'm going to be creating is a frosting line. And I want it to look like it's got kind of drippy frosting. So I'm going to go and make a wavy line across the top like this. And do the same thing on this one. Okay? Now the fun part about this is now we have a 2-tier cake, and we're gonna put line patterns in it. Now this part of the cake, I'm gonna make big zigzag triangles, really, really big. If you make them tiny, it's gonna be way too hard to decorate. And then down here, I'm gonna do the same thing, because we want it to kind of match. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do some decorations on our cake. Now, these parts up here, I'm going to make those into stripies. And I'm going to do a zigzag here. And then I'm going to color in my zigzags because I want there to be contrast. And we talked about contrast being differences. So black and white are opposites on our color spectrum because white is all of the light and black is none of the light. Although it's reversed when it comes to paint. But anyway, so I'm going to do stripes, and then let's do a castle line. So over, up, over, down, over, up, over. And then when you hit an edge, you stop drawing. So over, up, over, down, over, up, over, boop. And then I'm going to do one up here. So it's over, up, over, down, boop. And then I'm going to color in parts of it. So I'm going to color in this one. I'm going to color in okay, and then over here I'm going to do diagonal stripes. And then I'm going to color in this one. And then I'm going to color in this one. Okay. Now down here, I'm going to do some crazy line patterns because I like to. So I'm going to start with a vertical stripe that I'm going to fill in with a zigzag. Now, if you guys have been in my class when I've drawn these before, you know that I really like doing this particular pattern. And then I put dots. That's one of my favorite patterns to do. And you see how that creates contrast with these big, thick, solid lines with these thinner ones. And now over here, let's see. What can I do? What did I do last time? I did a really interesting one. Oh, I'm going to do short horizontal lines. And then I'm going to do zigzags. Or, well, they're not zigzags, they're diagonal lines. And then I'm going to do horizontal lines. So you can see I just put those really close together. Okay, now down on this part, let's do something similar. So let's see, let's check my line patterns. Okay, so I'm going to do some vertical stripes, some thick vertical stripes, because we want to create contrast. Now, if you don't have a black marker, you can just use your pencil and you can just shade in with your pencil. A black marker, yes, it stands out better, but that doesn't mean that's the only way of doing this. And then I'm not going to do a wavy line, but I am going to try to repeat different directions of lines where, now I made a mistake there, so guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to color it in. So what I'm trying to do is create some difference so that you can see contrast. Now don't forget, you got a little space sticking out up here, so that should also be colored in. See how that looks like it finishes it? And then down here, let's do another zigzag, a nice big zigzag. So we can do vertical zigzag like that. And then let's color these in. And it's okay that they're imperfect. Okay. And then over here, let's do half circles. So I just did 2 half circles, and now I'm coloring in, making very dark contrast. Okay. And then down here, again, line patterns. So let's do, I'm just tracing over the lines that are already on the paper, because that'll help. And then let's do, I like doing dots a lot. And then we can do lines like this, just vertical lines. You see, I'm keeping it simple, but it looks like it's not simple because I'm paying attention to what I'm doing and I'm making them very small. So in here, I'm going to do shapes. I'm just going to do a square shape, like a dotted square shape pattern. And I think I'm going to do the outline of those rows as well. And I think this needs some more contrast. I'm going to do some diagonal lines. You don't have to add as much as I am adding. I just want to keep it interesting. This one I'm going to do some more, finish it out with horizontal lines, again using the ones that I have. And let's keep it simple, and let's do some diagonal lines. And let's leave it like that. And then, oh, our cake is not sitting on anything. So around our cake, we're going to start about the side, come around, make a round shape. That's our cake stand, and then make a curve shape this way, curve shape this way. You connect it across if you want to. Our cake is now sitting on a cake stand. Up here, I'm going to put one candle. And then I'm going to use the line that's there to create some contrast. And I'm going to put some dots in there. I'm going to put one little line and then bloop, little flame on top. Now, we're going to leave it like this, except for we are going to color in the frosting. And you guys know that violet is my absolute favorite color. So I'm going to color my frosting violet. And I'm going to go slowly, and I'm going to go the same direction all the way across my paper. Remember, when you're coloring, you need to go the same direction across your paper. It's not hard to do it this way, I promise. Okay. Do the same thing. Here. Now you can change up your colors, but we're not coloring in the areas that have our patterns. We want to be able to create the emphasis there. Now, what we're doing by adding a color, you don't have to add a color if you don't have colors at home. That's okay. You can leave it just black and white. We're adding it in here for a little bit more emphasis. Now, when we create emphasis using color, what we're doing is we're drawing attention to a particular space on our project. So if you notice, everything is black and white, but now you have one color that you've included on here. And it makes it a lot more interesting to look at when we've created a little bit of emphasis. Now, with the contrasting of black and white, that creates emphasis itself. But when we use a whole bunch of different patterns like this, it takes away the emphasis that we had when we used just, so if we used one pattern, just one pattern, it would create emphasis. But when we use multiple patterns like this, it no longer has emphasis on just one area. That's why we're adding color to it by adding a frosting color. And remember, friends, I expect you to do your best. Whatever your best looks like, that's what I'm looking for. Okay. And of course, we have a little flame on our candle, and that's going to create some contrast also because I chose purple or violet for my cake frosting. And if you guys remember from last week's project, yellow is a complement of violet. So that means they also create contrast. So that is our 2-tier Zentangle birthday cake.